Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the Moza Air 2. I do have to say that this is not a sponsored video, but I did receive this gimbal for free in exchange for a review. So I happily accepted because I'm a big fan of 3-axis gimbals and I wanted to see what the Moza Air could do. Okay, by this time in 2019, you kind of know what to expect when you get a 3-axis gimbal. I want to talk about some things that set the Moza Air 2 apart from its competition. And one of those things you'll see right off the bat is this little screen and what you can see. So without an app, you can change almost every single parameter and you can do almost everything with this gimbal without an app. It does have a great app that connects and works wonderfully, but you can also do everything just from this little screen. And I'll show you right here, you can see your tilt, roll, and pan. You can change the motor strength just by moving this dial right here, which is super handy. You can put your tilt, pan, and roll into lock or follow modes just by pressing in the joystick. You can actually change the roll of the gimbal with the follow focus wheel. So I had never seen that before. I think that's really cool. Double tap the trigger, levels everything out, just like the Ronin S and other 3-axis gimbals out there. Triple tap brings it to selfie mode, which we've seen before, and then holding it down locks your pan, tilt, and roll, so they will not follow you. No matter what you have it set to, holding down the trigger does this. You can also change that if you'd like. Double tapping the function button will get you into that inception mode, so you double tap, and then you can automatically set it to spin. And it has speeds all the way up to 10, or all the way as low as 1. And then to exit the mode, you can either go to 0 or negative to go the opposite direction, but to exit the mode, just double tap. And it'll get everything right back to center. I think that's really great. Getting into that inception mode's real handy. You can press it 3 times and it'll actually auto-tune the gimbal for you, which is also great. Now there are just loads and loads of features that you can go through in here. It really is great. You don't need that app. You can also set these things up through the app, like I said. But one of the things that I find most handy is the actual offset. It comes pretty well calibrated out of the box and the calibration is very easy. But if you're in the field and you don't have a flat surface to calibrate and you notice that maybe your roll axis is slightly off and your horizon is not lining up with the lines on your camera or something like that, that can be fixed on the fly. So you press your main menu button here, you go to gimbal set, you go to calibration, and then you'll go to offset, and then you can just select which one you want to offset here. So on this example, I'm going to do roll, and I'll be moving. It's really hard to see, but I'm actually moving the roll. So what you're going to see is you're going to see that bubble level move as I move this. So I'm at 7, 8, and then that bubble's slowly moving over just to get it exactly level. This is just for demonstration purposes. I put this little Joby plate on there. But just to show you that on the fly, if it's not exactly right, you don't have to do anything in post. You can just offset it just on the fly like that with your tilt, roll, and pan motors. It really is great. Another massive pro to this gimbal is that using the multi-connect cable that connects to my Sony, and one of the amazing things about this is that this cable and gimbal are actively charging my A6300 as long as the gimbal is on. Doesn't matter if the camera is on or off, and that has just been an amazing pro for me because I shoot with Sonys and the battery life is so bad. This has been something that has just been excellent for me. I shot multiple days for almost all day, and I charged the gimbal just at night, and it did an amazing job, and I never changed the battery in my Sony A6300. And if you have an A6300, I know you find that incredibly hard to believe, but it's true. The gimbal was able to power the camera all day. So those are some of the features that stand out to me and that kind of set this gimbal apart from other gimbals that are on the market. It does have the offset roll arm like most gimbals on the market today. Like I said, it's got that screen. You can change almost all of your parameters here from the menu. It really is great. Now let me talk about some of the things that I don't love. One is the actual joystick just feels kind of cheap. I understand that they went for one that could also press in as a button, but mine, this may not be every single one, and I've fed this back to Moza, it gets stuck in the full right position. So if you see how it hangs up there for a little while. Now it might be something that I could simply fix by maybe a little bit of grease or something, but it just feels cheap. Now Moza did send this gimbal out for my review, and there may be a cable that charges this without removing the batteries, but for me, I have to use this handy dandy little battery charger here. Not the end of the world, but I have to take out all 4 batteries and use this supplied charger to charge the batteries via USB-C. Again, not the end of the world, but it's not the most convenient thing. Overall, I thought the Moza Air 2 did a great job of getting me really stable video. It does a good job with time lapses. You do have to use the app for that. It was very intuitive to set up, very easy to do, and overall it did a great job. You know that I enjoy time lapses if you've watched this channel, and it just did a superb job with the time lapses. I was very happy with that. Their app is very well built, runs very well. I never had any issues with crashing. It automatically connects to the gimbal every single time. It has a rock solid connection. I was very impressed and very happy with that. If you're looking for a gimbal and don't want to be tied to the app to change parameters or change cameras and change settings, this is definitely the gimbal for you. I do think it is a great gimbal. It is pricey. For me, the massive benefit is that it charges Sony cameras, and that is just huge for me. Coming from the a6300 and the a6500, I could easily go through 6 or 7 batteries in a day of shooting, and this gimbal just totally eliminated that, and I only needed 1 battery to sit in there throughout the day, as this gimbal handled the majority of the battery workload. I will say that your mileage is going to vary. Definitely depends on how well the gimbal is balanced and how much energy it's expending on those motors holding the gimbal in place. If it's very well balanced, the energy consumption is going to be very low, and a lot of that energy can go to powering your camera. So for me, I spent a lot of time setting up, balancing everything properly, and it was not using a lot of battery to maintain the camera, and therefore I got a lot of that battery life to sustain my camera throughout the day. I essentially got 1 day of shooting on a full battery charge from the Moza. I would go home, I would charge it up in the evening, and then go back and do the very same thing for the next day. And also, you could probably prolong the battery life by turning the gimbal off more. I pretty much left my camera on and the gimbal on for a majority of the day. I would just hold it down by my side, having everything in follow mode. That way, when I would flip it down by my side, it would just go upside down. And then when I was ready to shoot, I would just pick my hand up, pick the gimbal up, and I'd be ready to shoot. You could definitely conserve battery by turning off the gimbal and turning off the camera throughout your day. I hope this review of the Moza Air 2 3-axis gimbal was helpful for you and that you can use it in making your decision if you're looking for a 3-axis gimbal. Thank you so much for watching Break It Yourself. As always, don't forget to thumbs me up, and we'll see you next time.